Nearby, a beggar woman stretched out a gnarled hand and mumbled an entreaty. Almost without slowing his pace, Roarke put a single copper into the hand.
"By the Eternal, man,"
Piggott swore.
"Why the devil do you do that?"
Roarke shrugged.
"Maybe to remind myself. However little I have, 'tis a sight more than most folks. Won't be for long if you keep that up."
Piggott gave a snort of disgust and then turned the subject.
"Now, what about the fair? The Blessing sails in less than a week. You mentioned a lady cousin?"
"No," Roarke said quickly.
"Not Angela. We hardly know each other. I couldn't ask her for the money." "What's this?" Piggott demanded. "A show of pride, eh? 'Tis hardly the time for that, my friend."
Roarke said nothing, but he took the packet of deeds and titles from the agent, and they started toward the West End. Henry Piggott knew immediately, from the grim set of Roarke Adair's jaw as he left the residence in Bedford Row, that the young man had been unsuccessful with his lady cousin. Roarke closed the door quietly, but he brought his fist down so hard on the stone ledge at the top of the steps that Piggott blinked. It was the action of a man frustrated too many times by life. Piggott took out a small ivory pick and worked at his teeth, studying the young man with a mixture of interest and sympathy. Roarke Adair looked out of place in the elegant West End setting. A great, colourful oak standing amid severely pruned hedgerows. His best set of clothes consisted of a frock coat, straining against broad shoulders and concealing a cotton shirt that had seen better days. Breeches of a rather muddy colour, and boots that, even after unmerciful brushing, still bore dark seams of wharfside coal dust. A profusion of flame-red hair had been tied into a queue at his nape, and strands of it escaped a somewhat battered tricorn. The packet of papers was clutched in Rourke's great, rough-freckled hand. A hand that, more rightly, should have been closed around the handles of a plough. With an odd start, Piggott realized he was looking at a farmer, a man who belonged with the land even more than one who had been born to it. Piggott put away his toothpick and sighed. It was a damned shame that Rourke's only living relative, Angela Brimsby, had apparently declined to help him. But for the money needed to pay the taxes and fare, Roarke could own his uncle's legacy, a good, solid farm in Dancer's Meadow, Virginia. Roarke crossed the street and fell in step with Piggott. He folded his mouth into a grim line and stared straight ahead with penetrating blue eyes.
"Did they even listen?"
Piggott asked at length. Roarke shrugged.
"Angela tapped her teeth with her fingernail and looked worried that I'd soil her settee. Her husband, Edmund, kept his nose buried in a snuff-box."
He gave Piggott a crooked half-grin.
"They were a bit unprepared for me. Angela's mother and mine were sisters, but her family found that easy to forget. We were always the poor relations from St. Giles."
His grin disappeared.
"She was quite happy to take the claim ticket for the clock. It was the only thing she ever envied my mother." "Didn't you explain about the farm?" Piggott demanded.
A Virginian for the past 20 years, he was a great proponent of the colony and for weeks had been trying to locate Roarke Adair.
"By the Eternal, the Dancer's Meadow tract has been a working farm for a decade. Over 100 bushels of corn an acre. A man can ship half of that downriver, and the taxes don't even exceed 5 shillings.
Roarke looked annoyed.
"Which is 5 shillings more than I've got." I know. I'd lend you the sum myself, but I'm about strapped. Been doing other men's business in England for a few months now, and all I've left is a small bride price." "A bride price?"
Piggott grinned and patted the coin purse concealed inside his waistcoat.
"Bit of a shortage of women in some parts. Every so often, a man'll send to England for a bride."
They walked